There they are. Look at that. You guys figured it out. You figured out how to like get both on screen at the same time.
That's right.
You're like, I think you're backwards from your promo shots though, because like the camera flips. So how's it going, boys?
Good. How you doing? Great.
I'm good. So welcome to a Friday edition of Chocolatier Chat. Appreciate you spending a little bit of time with us. And I know one of you has to go somewhere, so we won't, we could make all the questions go to the left-hand side of the screen right now.
Yeah, that would work.
But what's funny is I think of you guys kind of as like a duo. So there are no like individual questions.
Not really.
How long have you guys like worked together?
Well, we've known each other since high school. And then we really didn't begin working with each other until much later, sometime around the end of college. We all kind of split. Scott went out west, and I went out west. He went northwest, I went southwest. And then we both ended up back in Michigan. At that point, we figured out that we had both went into culinary and kind of reconnected. Back then, this is before social media and all this stuff. And, somebody could move once or twice and you lose them forever, or seemingly. You change your phone number once and they're gone. So,
well, we had to change our phone numbers.
Right.
Now I've had the same phone number for the last like 16 years.
Exactly.
People call me out of the blue. Like, I didn't know if you still had the same number. Like, I haven't talked to you since 2005. They're like, right. Yeah, just checking.
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah. But anyways, yeah, we started working together. When I moved back from California back here to Detroit, I got the job as executive chef of the Lions and Ford Field. And then I had asked Scott to come down, and we had been going through a rough time in the country, but also especially here in Detroit at the time. It was like 08, 09. And two things were going on. One is the Lions went undefeated. I mean, I'm sorry. When
did that happen? Like, I forget that year.
Inverted undefeated. And
they went perfect though.
Yeah, they were perfect.
It was a perfect year.
Yes. And then on top of that, we had an economic downturn nationally, but it was particularly hard here with auto and everything. So combined the downturn with 0 and 16, and I had shrank my culinary staff to a pretty tight unit of 3, which normally would be 6 or 7. So Scott came down and was working kind of like just on game weekends and at kind of like a mercenary role for me. And then fast forward a few years after that, he came on full time as our executive sous chef and running our, baking and pastry program. So ironically, I had no formal background in pastry or chocolate for that matter. And Scott, however, that's his main training, but he's one of the few people I know that has that unique combination of the sweet and savory backgrounds on a pretty high level.
Kind of like his personality. That was a good setup, by the way, Joe. Thanks for setting me up for that. So, but let's rewind. So you guys talked about college. I mean, so culinary wasn't going to be the answer for either of you initially, right? If memory serves me from the story.
Correct. I went to school for philosophy and political science, so who knows what the hell that was.
So you're exactly doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
I'm a poli-sci grad too.
Business school.
Oh, well, okay. So you run the business, he runs.
I hate it. But, I had been cooking all the time, much like Scott had. So, and as happens with a lot of us, you get, sucked into the life and you find out you love it and away you go. So, and then, I had went to culinary school. Scott went out to Seattle, and I forget the name of the school, but
yeah, it was South Seattle Community College, actually.
Yeah. And
it's probably in Seattle, huh?
Beautiful. He was out there during the grunge years, man. He was rocking it.
Yeah.
I was like, I was trying to come up with something witty and funny to say, and I didn't have anything. It's one of those Fridays. I'm just not quite firing on all 6 cylinders.
But anyway, so yeah, we just both, kind of went and discovered that we want to do this for forever. and the way we embarked on that. And we both moved back to Detroit. He came back a little earlier than I did, and then we kind of reconnected at that point.
So, but Scott, so Joe, you're doing hot food, right? And
Yep.
Scott, you were doing sweet stuff, pastry, sweet stuff.
Sweet stuff.
Science. You were doing science.
Yeah.
Joe was like banging with hammers.
Yep.
I'm one of those guys too. I made that switch at some point. I
You
came
do both.
I still get expected to cook everything in my house, but
I was going to see your Instagram.
well, it's a lot different doing it for fun, right? Like not if I F up the pizza at my house, it's not a big deal, you know. If I overcook the steak a little bit, what's my 11-year-old going to do? Like send it back to the kitchen, you know? Versus I'm putting out a party for 200 executive VIPs that have like spent 40 grand for the executive box at wherever the Lions play now.
They still play at Ford Field.
I'm thinking of the Silver Dome.
Yeah.
I've got my whole.
Oh, right. Yeah. You're dating yourself.
I am. I haven't actually, to be honest with you, I don't think I've been to Detroit since 1999.
Oh. Well, that
go.
was before the Ford Field, yeah.
But I saw a baseball game at Comerica.
Oh, nice.
What is that called now?
Still Comerica.
Still Comerica.
Okay.
Actually, we still call it Tiger Stadium. I refuse to say Comerica, but for a while they were trying to get everybody to say Copa, and it was like, no. Detroit wasn't having that.
No.
What's Copa?
Comerica Park. They were trying to do the
Shrunken.
the J-Lo
Exactly.
Brangelina thing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so you guys reconnect, and you're like, but are you both food guys? Like, I mean, okay, so you didn't go to school to be food guys, but like, growing up, were you food guys?
We actually eventually ended up going to school to be both culinarians. Joe went to savory school, and I went to.
But like when you were like, puttering around the house, was like mom cooking in your stories, and that's why you fell in love with food, or like what?
We
Where
both
does that come from?
big food families. We both grew up with like grandmothers cooking and helping out and stuff.
Meatballs the size of your head.
On Joe's family, probably.
Yeah, I'm Lebanese and Italian, so we kind of grew up having a meal and talking about what we were going to have for the next meal while we were eating that meal,
You know what's funny though is it like so this program has kind of come out of COVID, like full disclosure, like it was like, Brian, you're not going to have a job unless you find shit to do, right? And like, okay, I'll go on the internet and talk to people. Sure, what the hell? And so like this is like, it's been a year, and I bet you we've done 45 of these. And so I've talked to like 40 different people, like 45, 50 different people that year. And like, that's a question I ask a lot about, like, what did you grow up with? And like, inevitably somebody goes, well, we're Colombian, so we ate a lot, and we talked about what the next meal was. Or, my family is Middle Eastern, and so we would get together and we would eat a lot, and then we would talk about what the next meal was going to be, right? And
the same thing.
right, like the only people that don't say that are people that said they grew up in England, right? Where but and so somebody's like saying that I have beard envy, and yes, I do have a little bit of beard envy going on. But I think it's why Food Network's so popular and why we talk about food so much is because we love talking about, like, we all grew up in that culture, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's really it connects all the dots, right? It's anthropology, it's history, it's all that,
Yeah, like it's that recipe that grandma got from this person, and we don't really know what she did differently to make it so much better, and hopefully we can learn from it. And I don't know. And like, I think food people are food people, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
So Scott, I mean, so Joe had meatballs bigger than his head. They planned what they were going to eat at the next meal while they were eating. What about you? I mean, was that kind of similar stuff, or?
Totally. We had, it was a regular thing that we had Sunday dinner at my grandma's house, my Mimi's house. And
I had a Mimi too.
oh yeah,
That's where we had dinner.
we were there, my aunts and uncles, my cousins. It was a huge, awesome thing. And my whole childhood, we did that almost every Sunday. We were at grandmother's house for dinner for a home cook.
Was the dining room too small for the number of people in it?
It was always in the basement, and we had like a couple tables put together with a couple different tablecloths on them, and Mitch.
Were you stuck like in the back? Like I was like always the first one sent to the corner, and like I couldn't get out. Like that was it. Like
I was enough to be old enough that I was able to graduate early to the adult table.
Well, this was the adult table. There was one, but like you got stuck in the, like you're little, go to the corner. Like,
yeah.
You know, and when the bowl got you, you got what you got because 14 other people had it before you, right?
Cheers.
So, I mean, was that? I mean, I think I know the answer to this question. I mean, like those experiences are they important to how you think about food now?
Oh, 100%. It always has been. That kind of gave me that feeling like, boy, if this kind of drove me to culinary because I always saw like how happy everybody was eating my grandmother's food. She was a great cook. My mom's a great cook. And, you know, that's the beautiful thing about this business is when you feed somebody, you get instant feedback and gratification on it. So I saw all that and it kind of instilled that in me and made me want to get into the career.
Yeah, it's weird, right? I mean, I think we're involved in, I mean, you guys, you know, part of your business with special events, right? I mean, if you really think about that, right? A Lions game is a big deal to some of you, not to me, like whatever. But
it's a lot of food.
But you're part of that. You're part of that big win in somebody's memory, probably, right? Not the year they went 0-16, but you know,
that's pretty.
Those meals got forgotten.
Yeah.
But like, you know, you're part of, you know, a kid's first time at a football game or, you know, a family get together or whatever it is. I mean, there's something about that that's got to be important to a certain degree, right?
Yeah, I mean, you don't have special, you know, holidays, any special events, weddings, all these things that we haven't been experiencing for the last year. But,
right.
You know, there's always food around it, usually, hopefully. And, you know, that's always part of it's part of the memory. What you ate at that thing, whether the first time you had a ballpark hot dog or, you know, something at you know, that you always had at family dinner, you know?
Yeah. Like I used to work for the Ritz-Carlton company and somehow I ended up doing wedding cakes, which I never thought I wanted to do. Right. And I got doing wedding cakes and I used to tell the captains at the banquet, I wanted to be called when they were going to cut the cake. And I didn't really care what was going on at the cake. I wanted to watch what happened with the bride's mom and dad when the cake got cut. Like I wanted their faces, not the bride's face, because the bride. Don't get me wrong, the bride's important, but it's that man's little girl. You know, his daughter is going away, and it's the daughter of the mom. You know what I mean? And like, we're in that business, right? Like, I'm gonna cry, but I mean, we get to be a part of special events in people's lives. That if you can take a moment to see it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. When you slow down everything, when we slow down everything we do to that leads up to those events, I mean, it's a cool thing. It really is. You know, you try not to be all jaded like we get, but when you break it down to that, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I think I told the story in the last month about this on this program, but it was like I was making a wedding cake one day and I'm cursing under my breath about how many wedding cakes we have to do and we're not getting paid, like we're not getting charging enough or whatever. And my executive chef calls me over and he goes, hey, and he used an expletive, come here, and said, I want you to remember that this is probably the most important day in this woman's life so far in her life. So I want you to treat the cake like that and go back to work. And I, you know, put my head back down and I shut my pie hole for at least a week, you know. But you're right, like we are involved, like we want to get jaded, right? 500 more. I got to make 500 more of
Yeah.
whatever it is. But who knows what that memory is?
Well, and
So,
how many weddings have we done or whatever in our life? But like that, hopefully, is that couple's only wedding, and you know what I mean. Like that's going to be something that, in particular, the cake, but even the food. You know, people. I think people, especially at big events, expect to get substandard food sometimes because they just it's going to be. So when they get blown away by stuff, I mean, we were doing some pretty awesome stuff at the stadium at the time we were there, and you know, so trying to, you know, that stuff's been transcended to another level, especially in the stadium world now compared to what it was, you know, 20 years ago.
so let's get there. Like, so you guys are doing sports service food, executive box stuff. You're not making hot dogs, and well, you're making some hot dogs.
Well, there's
But-
Yeah, we did all that. Yeah.
But I mean,
we did higher level cuisine too.
right? Just because I'm interested, who was doing food service at Ford Field at the time?
It was Levy Restaurants out of Chicago.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Another Brian story. I applied to work for Levy Restaurant Sports Service, like 98, whatever. And I was in Chicago, and I have the interview at the executive office, and I walk in, and I'm having the interview for a restaurant management position at the time, and like 10 minutes into this interview, it's not going well. Like it's bad. And I look at this guy, and I'm like, I am not getting this job, am I? And he looks at me and goes, no. I'm like, do you just want to cut it off here? And he's like, yeah, I got a meeting that I could get to. And I'm like, great. And so I reach across the table, I shake this guy's hand, and I leave. And he sent me this wonderful note, like, thank you. Like, that was super. Thank you for not making me like entertain you for an hour so that we both knew you weren't getting a job. I'm like,
That's
cool. Yeah. But anyway, I was really bummed for like a week. But anyway, so you're working for Levy, but where does guilt come from then and all that?
So it's kind of the funny story. So we had you know, all of our VIPs in our suite holders, and they obviously spend a lot of money to entertain themselves and their families and their clients at the games. And every year we would develop some kind of an amenity that we would give to them, random acts of kindness, or just like, you know, in the true amenity sense of whatever it was. And, you know, year after year you do something cool, and then next year you got to do something cooler. And then finally Scott, you know, said, hey, I'd like to do these chocolates. And I'm like, okay. And he kind of showed me some of the ideas I was kind of familiar with, but not quite as familiar as he was, obviously, with that being his world. And I'm like, all right, well, give me a list of everything we need to do to make these, you know. So, you know, we got a little Choco Vision and molds and packaging, and next thing you know, we're making encased bonbons at the stadium for suite holders, and that's where it really started. So we kind of R&D'd the whole thing at the stadium. Not intentionally, it just kind of worked
out that way.
It was a win-win.
Yes.
Which is better than the Lions were doing.
And true that.
I'm an Eagles fan, so really I got nothing this year. I got nothing for you.
One more, but the pain.
Yeah. So I guess they were pretty good. I mean, like, you were willing to take a flyer on this whole project.
Yeah. So, and we had also been working on, I mean, meanwhile, we also ran the training center where the players trained and dined. So that style of what we were doing with the food was a totally different situation. So now we're doing like high level performance nutrition. You know, the teams had all brought in, you know, over the last 10 years, all the NFL teams now have full dietary staffs and nutrition, and it's so much more scientific than it was when I got in the league, you know, back in like the mid 2000s even. Which doesn't seem that long ago, but it's evolved so much since then. And so we kind of took a liking to that too. So here we were, you know, we're kind of having these different types of balls in the air. We're doing performance nutrition. We're doing, you know, super cool encased
High-end
bonbons.
bonbons.
You know, we're doing all the other stuff, and we kind of Scott was in CrossFit, and a couple of the clients at his gym had talked to him. They knew he was a chef, and we worked with the team, and asked if he would be interested in doing food for them, because one of them was a CPA, and every year during tax season, he goes way off his diet. He doesn't eat right, and then he takes him half the summer to get back to where he was before tax season started. And that's kind of how we birthed Hardcore Meals, is another one of our businesses. We run both out of the same production facility here in the Detroit area.
But eventually you leave.
Right. Yeah. So we put together
Levy.
a plan for both businesses, because, you know, starting one business wasn't enough, I guess. And, you know,
Well, there are two of you. That means you have to make twice as much if you,
Yeah, right.
if you want to keep everybody in like shoes at your house.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah. But I mean, it's worked out in, we live in these two kind of different worlds that live together here in this building, which is kind of fun.
Yeah, I mean, I think we were joking about it this morning that we met like 4 or 5 years ago. We determined it's like 4, right? That's what we decided.
Yeah.
When you were, and that's kind of as you were sort of growing both of those businesses, if I remember from when you came, that like you'd sort of had some success, but you were trying to take it to the next level.
Yeah. Well, when we came to see you, obviously, to get some sell-me machinery, that was kind of our, to take it from a Choco vision to the next level for us, we needed appropriate equipment. And that's kind of, when we met you and dealing with Tom Rick and
Right.
selling.
So where are you selling? I mean, so we'll talk about the last year in a minute, but like the goal for selling chocolate was wholesale mostly, right? Like you don't have a retail front.
Not currently, but that's a project that we are working on.
Because you got all this time.
Yeah.
Well, and really true, Brian, like we're trying to assess where we are with the retail, with storefronts, you know what I mean? Because as we've came out of everything from 2020 and already the trends that were going on with retail prior to that, like that's something we're kind of still assessing how important that is to have that.
Right.
Because we do a ton of stuff through shipping, we do a lot of wholesale, and then we have a lot of retail partners around the Metro Detroit area that carry our stuff. So we're still assessing if that's an expense that we want to take on, or are we able to do this without that? It's kind of it's interesting to see as we've, before we sink a bunch of money into doing another storefront,
All right, Scott, I'm going to ask you all these questions later, but I know Joe's got to leave because he's got to take care of some family stuff, but I've got a couple questions I ask everybody.
Sure.
So I'm going to ask these questions right now, but it gives you time to think about your answers for later when I ask you again in like 25 minutes. All right, so savory, sweet, whatever, the idea that you had, that when you put it on the table and you were sure that everybody was going to love it, nobody liked it.
We really haven't had many of that.
Oh, come on. You got to have one somewhere along the way. Like as the budding sous chef outside of San Diego, like you had to have something that you're like, this is the greatest thing ever. Your executive chef went, this sucks.
Well, we've done some projects, like at the stadium, we did some of those projects where we were trying to create these wow items. That one year I tried to do this. I would come up with an idea, or we would together come up with an idea, and then we would have to try to figure out how to execute it. And we tried doing these giant donuts, like this.
They were 3 pounds.
3-pound donuts.
Bigger than Scott's head donut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so going back to feeling jaded, and you only got to make 500 more of these, that was probably an idea that was not so good. In hindsight, not only did it suck to execute, but I don't think they were particularly, the fans, I don't think, loved them.
The donut carving station?
It was like a 3-pound donut that we would fill with apple pie filling as well. Like we would make like filling and then like pipe it. And then glaze it in blue glaze with sprinkles.
Silver sprinkles?
Of course.
And white. So, I mean,
All right.
it looked good on paper until we started doing it, and then also not super well received. So that's probably one of the worst.
Yeah.
What's the favorite, like, so chocolate-wise, what's your favorite chocolate in the box right now that you guys are making?
Right now, mine would be the Orange Blossom.
What is it?
It's a milk chocolate ganache flavored with orange flower blossom water.
Nice.
I favorite's the banana caramel.
You can't go wrong with caramel in my world.
We try to do some form of a caramel in every collection just because they're
Approachable.
and they're great. I mean, I don't know. And you can do, they're so versatile. Like there's so many things you can do with them. You know,
We've done other stuff, and we did last Valentine's Day, I guess the year before, 19 Valentine's Day. We did a pop-up dinner, and we did the savory food and the desserts, and we paired a bonbon with each course. And one of the courses, the bonbon, was a fish sauce caramel, and it was dynamite. I see your face, but it was delicious.
I'm thinking like on a savory dish, not like as a praline. Like I could like I get it. Like there's that umami thing going on, and that caramelization and that, you know, Maillard reaction. Scientifically, it makes sense, but I don't want it in chocolate.
It was really good.
we did another crazy one that had a friend of ours was doing a mangalista pork dinner where the whole thing was
Okay, I can't hear you, so I don't know if that's me. I feel like I just missed a funny story. Uh-oh. Can you hear me? No, and I can't hear you. Am I turning red? Am I embarrassed? Here. I don't know, but my earbuds are working. I know they are. Like hit the. All right, so I'm going to try to invite Guilt Chocolate back as soon as they come back in, because other people are telling me that they can hear me. So it was just them. Uh-oh, where's my phone?
Can you hear us now?
Yay!
And it was probably the best story ever. And you have 2 minutes to tell the story before you have to go.
That's cool. I got to go. What were we saying now?
You were talking. So I was questioning. I was questioning the caramel, and you said, "Well, let me tell you about this other dinner we did," and then nothing.
Our friend of ours did a snout to tail mangalista pork dinner, and she brought us like a really nice jar of rendered pork fat. It was beautiful, and she wanted us to encase it in a bonbon without no ganache at first, and we were like, "Oh, wait a minute, you know, like
It'd be too porky, too much fat."
So we ended up making a ganache with that, but also it was about 50-50 ganache and then the rendered fat in it, and that actually was pretty fun too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad we figured the technical problems out for that.
Yeah.
But it was fun, like watching you guys laugh about your own story. Like you guys do the story. Like you guys have spent a lot of time together.
Every day, 7 days a week, on average, at least 6 to 10 hours a day.
You guys don't vacation together, like you go to your separate families and like when you go
Right.
on vacation, right? Okay, good.
Vacation, what's that?
You didn't have to quarantine together, did you? You could quarantine with your own families?
Yes, thank God.
Yeah. Although
All right,
we
so
pretty much every day through quarantine.
got it. All right, so here's the question, Joe. You go to, on one of those rare nights off, you get to go to the movies with your wife.
Okay.
And you're picking out, you get the big thing of popcorn and the giant tub of Coke.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to choose one mass market confection from the case. Which one? What do you pick?
Peanut M&Ms.
Twizzlers. Yeah, red licorice for sure.
Isn't that?
I like that you knew it before he did. That was the best part of that. Like, he's gonna get licorice. I'll get it for him because I'm in line first. Here you go.
We love licorice.
I thought that and fudge, right? Isn't Michigan fudge thing? Like, aren't you supposed to love fudge?
Yeah.
Saltwater taffy. Nope.
All right, so you're thinking about this, and Joe, you call off when you've got to go.
Yep.
So I'm not gonna like. I've asked my questions and I wanted answered.
No worries.
So you're contemplating this like retail thing and like how to grow chocolate and like, I mean, you told me the other day when we talked on the phone that the last year's been hard, right? I mean,
Yeah.
The sports service thing for a lot of the year was gone. Like people.
Well, we're one sector of what we do with our hardcore meals business is we cook for all the visiting teams that come play the Tigers. And that was all done in the clubhouse at the stadium, which that obviously didn't happen last year. But what you and I had talked about briefly on the phone, and Scott and I kind of recap, is we tried to innovate some new products during that time last year. To A, we had some time to do it, and B, you can't just sit back and do nothing. Like we, as chefs and chocolatiers and
small business owners,
you to sit back and do nothing just didn't feel right. And so we definitely put out a couple different types of new products in both sectors of our businesses that we didn't have before. And like you were saying, some people put money towards an innovation budget that above what they would normally do on a normal year. So, I mean, I think it was really important to do that in that time.
But I mean, coming out the other side to a certain degree, I mean, obviously Michigan, the color on the map is a little more red than it is,
It's been kind of here, yeah.
And there's a great question on the screen that I'll ask in a little bit, but
okay.
What is your favorite creation that you've never sold?
That just never sold.
Oh, that just never sold.
Yeah, we'll save that. I mean, but so coming out on the other side, I mean, what's going to be what came of that? What came of that time, and what came of that innovation that is the next great thing for you guys?
Well, I mean, just we bought a piece of equipment that we didn't have. We didn't have an enrober because originally, if you could recall back from 4 years ago,
I don't remember last week, man.
I know.
Like, I'm surprised that I remembered to call you.
I'm kidding you. We had got the truffle machine because we had lined up
some wholesale
truffle business right off the rip, and but we never had an enrober, so that was a big piece of equipment that we were able to get last year to do enrobe praline and such, and so that's opened up a whole nother area for us that we just didn't have before. And then on our savory side, we just literally put out a whole new line of category of item that we didn't have before as well. So,
I don't know if this question is for both of you, but like, I mean, do you guys love chocolate? I mean, I know there's all this stuff going on, but I think what I found in the last year or two talking to people is that people that really love chocolate end up being successful because they with their chocolate business because they're so passionate about it. I mean, like, where does chocolate rank in the food world? for you guys?
For one, I like it the best of all candy for sure.
Yeah, I mean, for me, not having a sweet background ever in my career, kind of being accidental for me in this world, I've fallen in love with it. And there was so much to learn. There still is so much to learn. But I love the technical aspect of chocolate. And, you know, I do enjoy the scientific aspect, as you were saying before, instead of being the Neanderthal savory guy, you know.
Just put some more salt in there.
Yeah.
Add another can of tomatoes. It'll be fine. All's will be well. Just add more tomatoes.
Exactly.
Right.
You know, actually having to take the time and formulate. I did. I mean, in school, I studied under a master pastry chef in culinary school, Joe Decker, here at Schoolcraft Community College, and so you know, I knew
Joe knows his stuff.
Joe Decker, yeah, and
Yeah.
especially in the chocolate. I mean, he's won gold medals in Frankfurt, so he knows what's
Yeah,
up.
he's the real deal.
Yeah.
And so the few classes I did have with him, even though that wasn't a specialty, the words and things that he taught back then, it all resonated with me still. You know, just the fact that you call something a formula instead of a recipe, and that enough sets the tone for where you're at, you know.
Speaking of which, I still get baffled by baker's percentages. It still like makes my head hurt. Like, why?
I think what's funny to me is like I hated math and algebra, and like now that's all we do. You know, it's always math, it's always algebra, and it's like if they would have just taught it in a manner that was relatable like that back then, I probably could have done a lot better with it. You know?
Yeah, my mom still jokes about the fact that like I squeaked by high school chemistry, right? I then took physics in college with no math. Like go figure that one, right?
Yeah.
Like I did everything I could to get out of my Spanish requirement, which like I cut my teeth in restaurants in Chicago where I was the only guy not speaking Spanish, right? You know, and like math was not my forte, right? And like those were the things that I used every day, like for a really long, like that was it. Those were like, it was a curse. Like, here you go. You don't want to work on these now? You're going to have to do them later.
Too bad.
Yeah, tough noogies, Brian. You're going to have to figure that out.
Hey,
So-
Brian, cut out. Thank you. It was good to see you. And Scotty, I'll finish up for you.
All the best to you and your dad.
Thank you.
So, Scotty, how many of you are there? Like, you're going to slide over. You're just going to like take the space
I'll
back,
take
man.
the center spot.
Center square for 200. How many? It's the two of you. Is there anybody else on the team?
We did have a couple employees prior to COVID, but during COVID, our numbers took a hit, and we had to let them go. And when we started back up and everything was running, we kind of figured we were able to do the business by ourselves. So currently, it's just the two of us, and that's it. We make
All right. So what was the answer to that question? The thing that you guys thought was going to be great in the chocolate box that just never worked. Like people were like, no.
We did a balsamic one time, and it just was real aggro. It was a little too vinegary, and it didn't go. There wasn't a lot of traction on it.
So, I mean, obviously, you guys have a website, which I'm bringing up.
Yep.
But like, where do you sell not that way? I mean, like, so you're talking about that right now is not the right time to open a retail store, but you got to sell chocolate somewhere. So where's it going out the door?
So we do some wholesaling through a company called Chef Source. They're a local company. They've been around, I think, since '99. I think Roger opened his place, and I've dealt with them. Joe's dealt with them. We used them down in the stadium. And so when we started this venture, he had asked us if there was anything we could do as far as something for him that he could carry. And we had already bought the truffle machine, or we're talking to you guys about buying the truffle machine.
Right.
So they said that they would guarantee buying some stuff from us. So we pulled the trigger on that. And so we've been doing truffles through them since then. And then we partnered with a couple retailers locally that carry our product, and we just keep them every holiday or every new change of the menu. We make sure that they get product.
Yeah, this is a really pretty picture, by the way. Uh-oh, wait.
Yep.
You just get to see my entire
Yeah.
history. But that's a really pretty picture.
Oh yeah, thanks, man.
So
All those, anybody who does chocolate for a living knows, and especially if you change your collection seasonally, it's work. It's recipe development, formulas. The pralines are in there, and caramels and stuff like that. We're working on some pâte à fouille stuff that we're real excited about. Some nougats. We just picked up a panner, so we're looking at getting into that. So
that's my new thing. I love panning.
really,
Like in the last year.
on the off of this.
Yeah, we can catch up later.
Yeah, I need to catch up.
But so I'm sitting in the panning room. I'm sitting in front of the big guy, right?
Yeah.
But we did this trial for a customer, right?
Awesome.
They're caramel balls.
Yeah.
Right? So they're caramel balls wrapped in milk chocolate. I mean, I'd want to switch to caramel, but no disrespect to a customer, but
yeah, no,
they're a little tooth achingly sweet, but panning's a lot of fun, and it's like this where we've talked. I was joking before about Neanderthal hammers. I was one of those guys too, so I really have no room to say anything.
Pastry, yes, man.
But what I love about panning is that there's this science element, and then there's this moment where it's all like instinct.
Feel, right?
It's all like,
what
am I when I'm training how to use the equipment? It's like people are like, why are you turning it down temperature by 1.5 degrees? I'm like, because I'm supposed to. Well,
yeah.
Why do you know that? I'm like, because
the last time I did it,
the universe spoke to me, and it told me to change the temperature by 1.5 degrees.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? And I think that's the funny thing about pastry chefs have this reputation of being the science guys, but there's somewhere in there where
instinct kicks in.
Yeah, I can tell you how a custard's supposed to work, or I can tell you how a ganache is supposed to work, and what the percentages are supposed to be, and then somewhere it's like, this one's going to be different.
Yeah. Do you realize? Do you think too that some of that is just instinctual? After so many years of doing it, you've seen bad results and good results, so oh shit, I better
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that too, right? I mean, I think that's the same. But we can pick on the hot guys now because they're gone.
Yeah.
But I think somebody that's as seasoned as Joe, right, who's been in the industry for a long time, isn't just chucking a can of tomatoes in, right?
No. Yeah.
We've created something that this ingredient has done this, and I need to do something to counteract that, whatever that is. And the best way to do that is to put in a can of tomatoes, right? So I'm picking on him, but I don't think it's just chuck some more stuff in the pot. I think there's a reason.
The tasting of everything too, just knowing it's supposed to, or having that vision in your head of what it's supposed to taste like, and then knowing, oh, I need to do this, this, and this to get it to taste like that.
Yeah, and I think what's harder for us on the pastry or the chocolate side, right, or the confection side, is that the difference is we need it to be repeatable, right? We got to stop picking on Joe because he just logged in the car, so we can't say anything bad about him anymore. But
hi Joe.
If that pumpkin soup, in the weird reference, is a little different, then it's not a huge deal because the meal was had 3 weeks ago. But if I think that for whatever reason, because of where we land in a special event or whatever it is, it's got to be the same, right? So I think that's kind of the difference. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
So will you answer some ingredient questions? You can tell me what kind of chocolate are you guys using these days?
We use Lucre.
I like the Casa Lucre. I was actually on a webinar yesterday with the guys from Colombia.
I had an opportunity in 2019 to go to the plantation in Colombia. It was unbelievable.
Did you get to go to the plant in Bogota?
Yep.
Yeah, because I've been to that plant a couple times.
Yeah, really amazing, man. Massive.
Yeah, yeah. That's like a whole city block.
Yeah, it's crazy. And like when you pull up, you're like, what? And then you get inside, you're like, oh, wow.
Well, funny story is I'm leaving, right? And they're like, how are you going to get back to the airport? And I'm like, I'm going to Uber. And like,
They're like,
the guy looks at me like, are you going to, from here? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to walk outside. I'm going to like put it in and I'm going to get in the car. And he's like, I'll go out with you. You know, Manuel's like,
yeah.
no, like, I will call the Uber for you and I will pay for the Uber to the airport for you.
To make sure.
I'm like, all right, whatever. Like, I don't know. I mean, Colombia's great.
New York.
Colombia was awesome. Like, I didn't know what Colombia was going to be like, and it was beautiful, and the food's great, and the people are so nice. It's just Bogota's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, though.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But once you get out in the hills, man, it was amazing. So beautiful, and like you said, the people were beautiful. The food was beautiful. Everybody, but it was awesome.
So you use Lucre,
yeah,
for pretty much everything now.
Pretty much. We use some Volrona product as well. We use some of their inspiration stuff, and that's about it right now. Yeah.
Cool. Who are some people right now that you think are doing really cool stuff other than Guilt Chocolates?
Yeah. I love Antonio Bouchour's stuff. I love Chris Harvey's doing some kick-ass shit. I so wish we could have been a part of that the other last week.
Talk to me offline. I'm able to get you some videos.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, Chris Harvey, Antonio Bouchour. Man, I can't think of this cat's name off the top of my head, but he's a chocolate.
Now the sound went away again. Wait, there it's back.
Did it happen? Okay.
Wait,
I think
there.
when my mom just called me and I was like, I tried to get rid of the phone call real quick.
What? My mom called the other day and she called 4 times. Like, decline. Decline. I'm like, Mom, is something, you tried to reach me this morning and I didn't call you back. I'm like, Mom,
It's funny, my just off camera right over here, I have my computer running. My daughter is graduating culinary school today. So I had her, because the commencements are, nobody was allowed to go because COVID reasons. So I had it running in the background. I got to see her get her diploma and stuff like that.
So there's your next employee. Look at that. You've got an intern.
Oh, she's worked a lot for us. Yeah.
Cool. So what's next for you guys? I mean, like, you know, you're obviously busy. Like, I'm not trying to give you more work, but I mean, like, it strikes me that you're always looking for the next thing. So what is the next thing? Where are you guys going to go?
We really are. We just purchased our GS1 barcode, and so we're getting ready to launch some products into other retail markets, grocery store markets, and stuff like that. And so we're really excited about that. That's going to be a big project. So we're geeked about that. As far as the food, the meal prep goes, we're looking to open up another gym in a local area just outside of Detroit that looks like it's going to be a good gym for us. And so that's kind of an interesting concept. You know, we basically deliver food to these fridges that basically act as our warehouses, and then the client picks the food up from there. We're in like 20 different gyms around Metro Detroit. It's pretty
Not the normal chocolate path. I mean, I think that's cool, though. I mean, I think diversifying. I mean, you guys come with sort of like this. Like, I think even when you guys were here the first time we met, and when we've talked since then, like, you guys kind of like, you guys complement each other in that food side where you both are working towards you're working in the same direction, but you're doing different stuff. You know.
Yeah, we do work really, really well together. And, you know, one of the things that we were hoping to happen last year that didn't was a retail space. And like we were saying, you know, since then, we're now reevaluating, is that an answer for us? You know, is that a smart thing for us to do? Or do we just continue to do online sales and then work out of have retail partnerships where we, you know, sell to local candy shops, florists, and stuff like that, and make our products?
All right. So you missed this part of the conversation with Joe because we talked on the phone the other day. You get an opportunity to plug whatever you want to plug right here. You can plug like your website, you can plug your Instagram page, your MySpace page, whatever you want.
Yeah, I would say, check out guiltchocolates.com. We got a great collection right now. Summer collections, not too far off. We're working on it right now. And
What's the best piece in that box?
in the summer box, we did some stuff with some yuzu recently and it got great traction. Let's just suffice to say that there's something probably yuzu oriented going in the box that I think will probably be the biggest hit.
Is it the Valrhona yuzu? Because that box would have to be like $74 or something.
So we used to use that product, and then I ended up using some Lucre white chocolate, and we ordered some Japanese yuzu juice from Japan, and that sealed the deal.
Yeah, like funny yuzu story. So like Boron supports the training center, and like they shipped me a pallet of product. Like honestly, like
wow.
You order whatever you want, put it on the pallet because you're paying freight, and it's cheaper if there's more product on it. I'm like, okay. So like I'm filling out the order, and I have like one case of yuzu.
Yeah.
One
case.
And they're like, you can't. So 6 kilos. That's it. And they're like, sorry, you can't have it. I'm like, what? You're gonna send me $2,000 worth of raspberry puree, but you won't send me one case of yuzu puree? They're like, no, we won't. Sorry.
Yeah.
Like Valrhona sends me anything I want. Like I pick up the phone, I'm like, can I get a case of this? And they're like, sure. Can I get a bag of yuzu? No. No.
I called our rep. I don't know if you know Rihanna.
I don't know. I mean, I know the name, but I don't know.
Yeah, she's our rep out here, and I was short on our last batch that I was making, and I called my guy here in Detroit, and he was like, "I'm sorry, I don't have any." So I called a pastry chef that I know who does use it here locally, and he was like, "I'm sorry, I'm out." So I called her and was like, "Hey, can you help me out?" She's like, "I think Roger might have some." I said, "No, I already checked him. He doesn't have any." She's like, "Well, let me see what I can do." And it was like a day later, she got back to me. She goes, "Buddy, how much do you need?" And I said, like, bare minimum need? And I was like, I need like 500 grams would be like bare minimum. And she was like, I'll send you some out. She goes, but that's about all I can do right now. And I was like, crap. So that's when I made the change and we had to like start working on a new formulation.
It's delicious though.
So good.
It's so good. It's really good. So for my friends at Valrhona, that's a great product. You got to work on like the whole dollar cost average sourcing thing. It's like $24 a kilo or something.
It's so obscene, but it's delicious.
So, all right. You guys are busy. I know you're busy, so I'm going to let you go.
Yeah, man.
But, it's been a real pleasure. Thanks for joining me. It's been fun.
Hey, thanks for thinking of us, Brian. We really appreciate you guys, and we've sent some people your way. Just most recently, Claude. I don't know if you talked to him.
Probably. I'm so bad with names.
Yeah.
Like I was joking about like I hardly remember you guys. Like I know you guys.
Hot dogs or something like that. I remember we came out with you.
Well, you guys wanted like buffalo dogs. Like
we wanted
to compare them. You wanted to compare them to like Detroit dogs.
Kind of. Yeah.
By the way, okay, you know what? I have been to Detroit more recently than that because my daughter was in a sports tournament, like right before COVID. And I got to admit, I don't like Detroit pizza. I'm really sorry. I'm sorry. I don't like buffalo style pizza either, if it makes you feel better.
What is buffalo style pizza?
It's sort of doughy and the sauce is really sweet. And I like thin crust New York style pizza.
Yeah.
Like that's my thing.
Too, but obviously we got a special thing for Detroit here.
What's the big company? Like the one that has restaurants all over?
Buddies.
No, that wasn't it.
Jets.
Yeah, no, we went to somewhere else.
I
don't know. But it was like walking into a pizzeria Uno, except for the pizzas were square.
Yeah.
It was fine. I mean, it was fine. Like
they got the cheese. The big thing is the cheese wall that comes like up the sides and gets all crispy around the outside.
And then the sauce is kind of drizzled, which
the sauce drizzled on top. Yeah.
I didn't care. That's what I think I didn't like. My daughter loved it though.
Yeah. So,
next time I think we'll probably be in Detroit at some point this summer. We'll see.
Hey, if you please let us know, man. We'd like to take you out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Like my daughter plays squash, so like
Oh, cool.
we're in like Grosse Pointe or somewhere like that, of course. But
Yeah.
we're not in downtown Detroit.
No.
And why can't you take a left turn in Michigan? Like, what's up with not being able to take a left turn?
You can take left turns. We just have Michigan lefts where you kind of go down around and then turn.
Everything requires a right-hand turn first.
Yeah, well, you can turn right on red here.
Well, you can here too, but we could take a left turn at an intersection.
Do
You don't have intersections. You have like
question
I,
on a one-way? Do you turn left on a one-way?
if they're both if both streets are one-way streets, you can take a left turn on red.
Okay, it's the same here. I didn't know if that was like a Michigan thing.
No. So, all right, man. Big mega fist bumps to you.
Yeah, man. Thanks.
And I'll catch up with you later. Do me a favor, hit the X in the top right of your screen.
Will do.
On your image. So I'll see you later, man.
Thanks a lot, Brian.
Yep. Talk to you soon.
Ciao.
Ciao.